Hello everybody, this is Muckstick and welcome to a brand new video. Today I have Swagkage, one close friend here. Welcome to the channel.
Hey, how's it going everybody? Swagkage here. Not talking about Naruto today. Talking about Dragon Ball. I guess that's obvious.
Yeah, Swag here, he's one of the most knowledgeable Dragon Ball fans that I know. And I brought him here today because we have a similar opinion about a certain arc that a lot of people do not enjoy very much.
You'll never guess what it is. You'll never guess what arc we're talking about.
No, not at all, especially if you read the title. No, but
Yeah.
the Majin Buu arc, which is the final arc of the original Dragon Ball manga, is pretty hated by most people. Or at
I don't know if I would
disliked.
say most people, but there is a very large group of people that are very vocal about the fact that they don't like Buu. And it's pretty accepted too. Like if you say, "Oh, Buu sucks," nobody will be like, "What? What are you talking about?" You know. Whereas if you say something like, like Cell arc sucks, or the Frieza arc sucks, or the Saiyan arc sucks, people will lynch you for it. And now, I'm in the camp. I totally agree with anybody. If you think the Saiyan and Frieza arc sucks, that's a bit weird. But and I sort of get why people don't like the Buu arc, but I guess I'm rambling right now. Point being, a lot of people don't like it, and we're here today to defend it, at least to the best of our abilities. It might not be super necessary. A lot of people might not think that this video is needed because not a lot of people have read the manga. Most people watch the anime, and we're going to be talking about the manga version of the arc. Because I don't like the anime version for a lot of the same reasons that many people don't. I'm pretty sure the same thing is true for you, Luis.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of weird pacing issues, and they keep all the filler, and it's a lot of bad filler, and it's just I think Dragon Ball's manga is substantially better than its anime anyway, but it's particularly true in the case of the Buu arc, because even in Kai, they don't trim all the fat. They leave a lot of stuff there. Anyway, I'll stop talking, or you go ahead and...
No, for sure. And even though I do like a lot of things about the anime version, particularly the music, I think is fantastic. It's probably...
I agree.
Yeah, probably my favorite music as far as Dragon Ball goes is in that arc. But the pacing issues really drag it down for me, and even though it's my favorite arc, well, one of my favorite arcs, it really takes me a lot to get through the anime version of it, even the Kai version. So yeah, the manga. And what do you think about a particular character, Gotenks? Because that's the thing I know a lot of people disagree with me on this, because he's my personal favorite character in all of Dragon Ball.
I wouldn't say he's my favorite. I don't even think he's in my top 5, but I think he's pretty entertaining. And now I will admit, I think that whether or not you like Gotenks is completely up to personal taste, and he is there for a while, not too long to be fair, but he is there for a little while, and there's a lot of focus placed on him, and he's also the protagonist for a little bit. The thing is with Gotenks, he's very similar to the Ginyu Force in that he's goofy and sort of out of place in this otherwise very serious, dire situation. And Dragon Ball has never been a super serious, gritty manga by any stretch of the imagination. But these characters do sort of stick out by design, because Buu is while he's silly, Buu, at least after he becomes Super Buu, is pretty scary. And then you just have Gotenks, just chilling there, screaming out Galactic Donut and all of these other really wacky wrestling move names. And well, on top of that, his fight with Buu also takes Buu from being super scary and creepy to being just as wacky as he is. So I think that's why a lot of people don't like him. But to be fair, in the manga, his fight doesn't last for very long, and I think it's funny. But if you don't, it may turn you off, and that's totally fair. But in the manga, again, it doesn't last for that long. In the anime, it's 3 or 4 episodes or something. And even in Kai, I think it drags a bit. But in the manga, I think it's pretty funny. Regardless, I think at the very least, it's hard for anybody to say that Gotenks is an objectively bad character because he does exactly what he sets out to do. A lot of people, compare him to characters from Super. Like when you criticize like somebody from Super for getting like unreasonably strong without a good explanation, people point to like Gotenks, be like, well, everybody's fine with Gotenks. First of all, that's not true. A lot of people don't like him. And second of all, Gotenks is sort of different. He's like the Deadpool of Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Like, he just does shit for, like, no reason. Like, when he goes Super Saiyan 3, that's supposed to be fucking funny. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. And then he, like, beats up Buu. And he doesn't win because if he won, it would be kind of lame. Because, again, he's kind of like a joke character. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling. I think I've made my points already.
A lot of people don't like him, particularly because of how immature he is and how, in a way...
Yeah.
I guess you could compare him to a character like Broly that represents a lot of things that people who don't watch Dragon Ball think Dragon Ball is about. You know, the showish type of screaming your attack name and power.
The big power levels.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's actually a line in Buu's Fury, which is a fantastic game, where I think that this is in the manga as well, but I'm not exactly sure, that Trunks says, oh, we can't just show our power at the very beginning. We have to build up to it. You know, that's what heroes do.
Yeah.
Because they're kids imitating the adults, and they've seen and heard stories of how their parents and the Great Saiyaman has defeated villains, and they're trying to imitate the whole, oh, I gotta be a Sentai that shows his incredible power by throwing special attacks. And
well, also to be fair, Trunks saw Goku do this very thing earlier in the same arc, so nobody can fault him for not using Super Saiyan 3 immediately. And it's you can't even say Trunks wasn't there when Trunks was really far away from Goku, but like he knew what was going on. Like he turns around and he's like, "What's going on back there?" Goten's dad is crazy, you know. And so like I totally get like their mindset, especially Trunks, because you know Goten's kind of silly. I don't think he puts a lot of thought into what he does, but Trunks is a show off. He really wants to be the bestest and the strongest. And like if you, maybe this is me reaching a bit and getting into like headcanon territory, but if you think about it from like his point of view, if you saw like your best friend's legendary dad that your dad constantly complained about and that you heard stories of all the time, who had been dead since you were born, just come back and fucking clobber this guy that nobody like had any idea how to beat. And he did it, you know, like, and he held off his transformation. Like, you'd be like, oh, okay, I got to do everything like that guy. You know, we're going to save our big Super Saiyan 3 form for the very end of the fight. It's going to be super cool. We're going to beat him just like Goten's dad did. And everybody's going to be like, wow, you guys are so cool. And, you know, that's the sort of mindset he had. Now, maybe some people can't appreciate that. Maybe some people are like, well, I don't care. I don't want to see 2 7-year-olds fight the big bad for like 4 episodes or whatever. And again, I guess I get that, but that's more of a personal problem than I feel a fair objective critique of the arc.
I think we've pretty much covered everything about Gotenks, but I did bring up the Great Saiyaman, which is another character a lot of people have. Well, a lot of a lot of people have problems with. Well, I guess we could talk about Gohan in general in this arc, but particularly the Great Saiyaman, I think is a really funny thing.
I think it's hilarious.
I think I don't think anybody has ever said this is true, but maybe this is the Ginyu Force's influence on the Great Saiyan on Gohan, and I think that's genius. And
I think that's sort of like a headcanon thing that a lot of people came out. I don't think it's ever like stated.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, regardless, it's just like a gag. Like, I don't get why people hate it so much. It's clearly just there to be funny. And I mean, what was he supposed to do? Like, not dress up and hide his identity? Like, was he supposed to get like some super edgy, like over-designed like Batman costume and go out and like brood the whole time? I think it's a lot better him fighting crime. Like I just can't imagine what other approach Toriyama would have taken to the character, because think about it from like a writer's perspective. What happened was Toriyama was like, Okay, so Gohan's going to start going to school. He's probably going to fight crime because he's going to naturally come across crime. Even if I try to write it so that, he doesn't see any, people are going to ask, oh, what would happen if Gohan saw some petty crimes and thefts and stuff on the street? So he's like, okay, so what would happen is Gohan would obviously go stop it. But then the problem would arise of, everybody knows that he's super strong and he's going to cause all of this attention to be directed at his family. And, he doesn't want that. And his mom doesn't want him fighting. So what he does to circumvent that is, just create this superhero moniker, identity type thing. And he gets Bulma to make him a superhero costume, and that's the thought process that Toriyama went through, I'm sure, and it's a very logical one to progress through. Like, I can't imagine he thinks all of these things through, and then he's like, so what I should do is I should just have him just be Cell Arc Gohan, where he's angry and mad all the time, he takes it all super seriously and just beats people up and just stomps them into the ground because he's Gohan and they're just regular old lame. Like, maybe people would have thought that was cool, but I think it would have gotten really old really fast, and it would have seemed super out of character for him because, a lot of people act like he changes, a lot between the Cell Arc and the Buu Arc, and no, he doesn't. He's very similar in personality to the way he was, when he wasn't, all angry and roided up in all of the previous arcs. He just seems like a grown-up Gohan, and that is a very Gohan thing to do, I think. Yeah. Again, it's sort of up to personal taste whether or not you think it's funny, but you can't argue that it's out of character for him or whatever.
I mean, you pretty much said everything I was thinking of. The Great Saiyaman, I think, is really funny, and it makes a lot of sense for Gohan to commission Bulma to make him a suit. He's not gonna be brooding all the time, especially after the Cell fight where Goku left, giving him hope and telling him to just be a good person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said about the Great Saiyaman.
Okay, well then, on the subject of Gohan's character, it is really stupid. See, this is the thing that everybody likes. Everybody likes Ultimate Gohan, and this is the thing that we're complaining about. But, it is really stupid how he goes through the exact same little mini arc that he did in the Cell Arc, where he just messes around, toys with Buu, and then ends up getting everybody killed because of it. To some extent, it wasn't entirely his fault. I don't think he knew entirely how to kill Buu when they were fighting. But, I mean, at the same time, I feel like he could have wrapped it up a little quicker than he did. He certainly shouldn't have given Buu the opportunity to blow himself up like that. He shouldn't have made Buu mad enough that he would blow himself up. Anyway, I think he should have been a lot more efficient, not done what he did against Cell. I mean, I imagine that would just be, watching your dad get blown up by big fat balloon Cell when you think that the entire when you spend a whole minute thinking that the entire world is gonna get blown up and it'll be your fault. I imagine that's a pretty traumatic experience, and that's something you would absolutely learn your lesson from. So it makes no sense at all for Gohan to just not. I get it was a long time ago, but it's really stupid.
That whole fight, as much as I love it, there's a few problems I have with it. Gohan not knowing how to catch an earring when he can do all these things.
What? You see him play baseball and he catches it fine. So and he's holding back and in base. So you'd think his max power, ultimate potential unleashed reflexes would be better. I get a baseball's bigger, but still, surely his new power would make up for that difference in size.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I get it's pressure and stuff, but he's Gohan. He should be used to fighting under stressful situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he beat the shit out of Frieza twice when he was a little baby. So, I think everybody gets it.
Yeah.
That aside, Gohan fighting Super Buu was cool. I don't like how he got the free power-up. I think that was kind of silly. I mean, a lot of people bring up this complaint, the whole Elder Kai dance. Gohan just sits there and then he just becomes the strongest ever for free. It is kind of dumb, and it doesn't feel earned at all. I think the Z-Sword training was like way cooler, and if he had come down and gotten that much stronger and just fought Buu as like a Super Saiyan 2 with the Z-Sword, that would have been awesome. But I mean, I don't know. Apparently Toriyama disagreed. Maybe one of his editors was like, no, you got to give him a new form. And Toriyama was like, no, I'm going to just make him base. And his editor was like, you know what, fine. Just call it something else.
Yeah,
who knows?
But yeah, the other Kai training, I think, is really funny. And I love the old Kai.
Oh, it is hilarious, but I think the power-up
it is dumb. Toriyama is weird like that about a lot of things, like the sacred water after Goku fights, or before Goku fights Piccolo.
Yeah,
that's kind of dumb.
He's like, it doesn't actually do anything, and Korn's like, actually it does.
Yeah.
Stronger, I lied.
And then there's the Guru, the Grand Elder, in Namek, which is also similar. At least the old Kai was funny. But
yeah, I agree. Well, like, the other thing is we didn't need Gohan to get stronger to fight Buu, because, like, Gotenks served the secondary character fighting the main bad guy purpose anyway. So, I do think Gohan's really cool early on in the arc, though. Like, when he powers up to Super Saiyan 2 against Kibito, that's fucking awesome. His fight against Dabura is pretty sick. He didn't need all this extraneous stuff later on in the arc to make him cool, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. Let's actually talk about the start of the arc, because
You know, we have been bouncing around all over the place. I think we've just been handling everybody's big gripes, and then we took a moment to complain about Ultimate Gohan.
Yeah.
By the way, we're still defending the arc. That was like our one complaint, and it's not a major complaint. It's just something that I feel like is fair to. But anyway, I'm rambling again. Let's go back. So where do you want to start? You want to start with the high school stuff?
Yeah, the high school stuff, for example. We touched a little bit about the baseball thing, which is also great. But I think seeing because we had, after the Cell arc, and even during the Cell arc, it was all just going and going and going. There was the tiniest bit of slowdown right after the Frieza arc, but after that, it was just non-stop. I think it was really, really good for Toriyama to just slow down a little bit, let us see what everybody was up to for a while, introduce some new characters. Videl's wonderful.
Videl's awesome. Everybody loves Videl.
Yeah. Getting that new kind of perspective, especially from her, who doesn't know about this whole incredible power, and getting to know how to fly and being surprised at every moment. For example, when Goten says, "Oh yeah, my dad's gonna come back for a day even though he's dead," her reaction is just like,
that's really funny. Yeah, because like Goten doesn't know any better. Like, he's used to all this weird wacky shit, and then Videl's like, what? Hold on. Her as a regular person. I mean, I agree. Again, a lot of people personally don't like the slower pace and the slice of life stuff. Again, in the manga, it doesn't last for very long, so you don't have to deal with it for an extended period of time if it's not your thing. But I think it's perfectly fine. And even then, like right afterwards, we get some there's some necessary slow, I don't want to say like world building, but it's like plot progression or whatever, where like we see Vegeta again, we see Trunks, we learn about Goten, we find out about the tournament, all that good stuff. And that leads into a pretty nice tournament arc where it doesn't take, obviously it's not a serious tournament arc like the ones in early Dragon Ball, because everybody's so much stronger now than anybody who could feasibly be entering the tournament, that it's like, obviously Toriyama is going to have fun with it. I can't imagine what else he would have done. So, everybody like doing their thing with the punching machine, and everybody being like, I feel like it's like broken, sir. That's funny. Vegeta just destroying it is great. And then we slowly start moving into the more interesting stuff. We meet the Kaioshin, who we later find out he goes by Shin at first, and then we later find out that he's the Kaioshin, and then we learn about all this Babidi and Majin Buu stuff, and then we go to the spaceship, and then we progress into Goku versus Vegeta. It's all pretty great. There are some neat little highlights. I don't think anything is spectacular at the beginning, really. I think it's all very good, and I think it's just, it's nice. You can tell it's building towards something before long, and it's very easy and natural to progress through, in my opinion.
I think particularly once Shin shows up, there's a sense of suspense that we don't see through Dragon Ball often, because we don't know anything about this guy and Kibito. They're just mysterious figures. For some reason, Piccolo's scared of him.
Right, Piccolo just poops his pants and surrenders, and you're like, wait, what? What?
Exactly. And then this guy, Spopovich, shows up and starts beating up Videl. He has an M on his forehead. What the hell is going on?
Yeah, Videl, kills him twice.
Yeah, he breaks his neck. That Spopovich fight is crazy. That's one of my favorite moments in the arc. And then I think the moment where everything really kicks off is the moment when Gohan finally steps up and goes Super Saiyan 2 against Kibito, and then Spopovich and Namu attack him and absorb his energy. Then things kick off, and I think that's when you start to see where this is going.
Yeah, exactly. It's a sort of aha, light bulb moment, and the ball gets rolling, and it's really good. I feel like in terms of pace and plot progression, it's very similar to all of these previous arcs, and I don't know if anybody really has a problem with the everything that happens between the tournament and Buu showing up. I feel like everybody's gripes start with Super Buu, so maybe we don't need to defend this part, but I still want to talk about it because I love everything, we get the Babidi spaceship stuff is a little bit slow. I'll give you that. I think it's still entertaining, and you're given time to reflect and think about what's going on. Well, plus, before they go into the spaceship, some people get turned to stone, so you're like, oh no, that's not good. Krillin and Piccolo are, dead. What are we going to do? But, they slowly start descending into the ship, and, they take care of everybody pretty quick. I mean, again, I think it's just, at this point, it's just Toriyama having fun with the idea that he's made these characters so unbelievably strong that there aren't a lot of people that could reasonably challenge them. So Vegeta just, blasts through Pui Pui, and then Yakon gets taken care of pretty quickly. But then Gohan fights Dabura, and that's really exciting. I think that's a great fight.
He's really cool. His power is really special and original for Dragon Ball, because at this point in the series, we don't have many characters with special techniques. The last guy I can think of is maybe Spike the
Ginyu.
Devilman or something.
No, Ginyu and Goldo.
Yeah, Ginyu and Goldo, you're right.
Nobody really since then.
Exactly. And that whole fight's really exciting. There's a lot of moments where you're like, oh shit, when Gohan gets spit on glove and he has to take it off. That part's really cool. And not to mention that's one of my favorite outfits for Gohan, which we never see ever.
The Saiyaman outfit, without the helmet, is so cool.
Yeah.
Especially when he goes Super Saiyan. I love the design.
It's super cool. And I think them just plowing through all the forces that Babidi brings at them is really cool. Because you see Babidi oh shit, what am I supposed to do? Up until they get to Dabura. And when they finally start to, revive Buu, and the big moment, Majin Vegeta happens, shit gets particularly dark, especially for this arc, when Vegeta just kills a bunch of people in the tournament to get Goku's attention, and Goku is about ready to blast Kaioshin, so he lets them fight.
Yeah.
Man.
No, that's crazy. It's super intense, and then you're just like, oh, well, so, Gohan and Kaioshin have to deal with, Buu now? Well, you don't know. They keep going deeper into the ship, and their objective is to stop Babidi and Dabura, and you have no idea, if this is your first time going through, whether or not Buu is actually going to get awakened. And then he does, and he just goes to town on Gohan and Kaioshin, and you're worried that both of them might be dead. You're actually led to believe that they are. Meanwhile, you have Vegeta and Goku fighting, and Majin Vegeta's great. I don't think we have to defend him. Everybody likes Majin Vegeta. He and Goku's fight is fantastic. While I don't think it's quite as good as their first fight in the Saiyan arc, it's very good, especially in the manga. I think that moment that you pointed out where Goku nearly kills Kaioshin is awesome. It's a neat character moment for Goku that doesn't feel out of character, but it isn't expected. You're surprised that he does it, but you don't think it's out of left field or completely unexpected or whatever. People, now this isn't super common. People do tend to complain from time to time about the fact that Goku doesn't just go Super Saiyan 3 against Vegeta and wipe the floor with him. And that seems like something that Goku just wouldn't do, especially considering the context of his relationship with Vegeta, also considering the fact that he's a Saiyan, just the sort of person he is, the fact that he likes fighting on even terms with people. He let Frieza power up to 100%, gave Cell a Senzu Bean, that sort of stuff. It's not really outlandish to assume that he'd want to fight Vegeta in the same form. And on top of that, he wasn't entirely sure how effective Super Saiyan 3 would be in a situation like this. He didn't want to use up all of his time in case they did end up having to fight Buu. And you may also want to consider that if he went Super Saiyan 3, that might have awakened Buu on its own. All of those factors. So I think it all makes sense. I think it makes sense that he remained in Super Saiyan 2 when he fought Vegeta. Regardless, we got a good fight out of it. I'm glad that we got this instead of Super Saiyan 3 Goku just beating Vegeta up. Well, plus Super Saiyan 3's reveal wouldn't have been nearly as it would have been like, what the fuck if he just pulled out another Super Saiyan form when he was fighting Vegeta instead of against Buu. It would have been like, wait, we were gonna get a Goku versus Vegeta fight and then Goku's just way stronger than him. Are you kidding me? Whereas when he fought Buu, it was like really intense and you had just seen Vegeta die for no reason against him. And you're like, how's Goku gonna do this? And then he pulls out Super Saiyan 3 and you're like, oh, that's really cool. As opposed to the questionable reaction people would have had to Goku doing the same thing against Vegeta.
Yeah, exactly. It's really funny that you brought up the Super Saiyan 3 just beating up Vegeta. Yeah, that would have been completely anticlimactic, and I'm sure people would hate this arc even more if that happened.
Exactly, yeah. People would be like, oh, remember when we thought we were going to get Goku versus Vegeta fight, and Goku just fucking knocked Vegeta's pants off?
Yeah, but once Majin Buu gets revived, man, we were just looking at some manga stuff, and I came across it because this is not a part I frequent as far as this arc goes that much, and I kind of forgot how crazy it was when Buu just showed up, because now we're used to silly Buu, bouncing around, eating his ice cream or whatever, but when he first shows up, he body slams Kaioshin into the ground. He's bleeding to death. Gohan's dead as far as we know. It's insane. I think he eats Dabura. His candy beam is one of the scariest moves when you think about it.
Sure would have been helpful in the Tournament of Power.
Sure would have been. No, but once Vegeta comes by and the whole fight's done and Vegeta sacrifices himself against Majin Buu, everybody loves that part. You said we don't have any need to defend it, and so I'm not going to. You're just gonna say that it's great. But once Majin Buu regenerates, we've seen this with Cell and stuff like that, but not to this degree exactly. I hope a character. Well, I guess we kind of saw, because a character died in the other one too. But once Majin Buu comes back, there's no one left to defend Earth, because we know Goku has to leave any second now. And he's knocked out. So once they go back to the lookout, and Goku talks to them, about a new secret technique that they would need to use. But first, they need to find the Dragon Balls, all this stuff. But Goku and Majin Buu fighting, that whole sequence of Goku going Super Saiyan, and I know we were gonna talk just about the manga, but this sequence in the anime is also really, really good.
Well, it's one of Dragon Ball's most iconic scenes. Some people like it, ironically, because Goku powers up for 5 fucking minutes. Some people, I actually love it. I love it to death. But in the manga, it's great too. It's not quite as climactic. I think it's only a couple panels. But still, I just think the entire thing is super, high tension. I mean, really, you just, everything you said, we have no idea what's going on. And I can imagine reading this weekly would have been crazy, because you're like, okay, Goku's knocked out, Vegeta's dead, Buu just regenerated, who else is supposed to fight him now? Goten and Trunks? Piccolo, maybe? You're like Piccolo even says flat out, he is nowhere close to being a match for Buu. So you're just like, what's going to happen? And then Goku mentions fusion, and you're like, oh, that's pretty neat. and then he fights Buu, and you're like, oh man, this is crazy. And see, this is the sort of like, this kind of tension is the sort of stuff you expect from the end of an arc in Dragon Ball, but it's happening like right at the midway point. And now maybe that's a sign that this arc is just way too long. Some people might say that, but I disagree. I think that it's just a sign that I think this arc just manages to juggle a lot of things very well, and sometimes it drops the ball as you would expect it to, because I mean, again, it's trying to juggle a lot of things at once. But the things that it gets right, it does very well in my opinion. And you end up with not just like individual good scenes, but series of like really great back-to-back moments that all add up to like a really great experience that's like more than the sum of its parts, And again, this is just the beginning. It gets even crazier from here.
Yeah, exactly. Because once one of my favorite parts about this arc is the relationship between Mr. Satan and Buu, because Mr. Satan is an incredible character. A lot of people used to not like him. I think opinions have changed about him a bit more. I think more people are beginning to like him. But the fact that he actually goes out and tries to kill him with a gun, and then just realizes, oh wait, I can't do anything about this, I'm gonna become his friend.
Yeah, well, he becomes Boo's friend as like a defense mechanism, and then he realizes that Boo's like actually a good person, and then like that interaction is adorable, and then like B dies, and then like, man, that scene is like, I was watching it with my fiance, and she was like, oh, like when the guy just shoots the dog.
Yeah.
Because like she knew it was like, well, first of all, I think it was just a gut reaction to somebody shooting a fucking puppy because it's awful. But I also think she knew like, oh, this is going to be real bad. And then, Buu splits, and then we see evil Buu, who does kind of suck. But then Super Buu shows up, and he's terrifying, like we were saying earlier. And now this is where the arc sort of slows down a little bit, and it takes a little while to get its momentum back, and it goes into like Gotenks fighting Buu and stuff. But, I think Ultimate Gohan again is fun. We already sort of covered all of the stuff that happens from this point on, but one thing that I do want to talk about just briefly is the human extinction attack, because I think that it is so cool. Buu just kills everybody, and it doesn't last for very long in the manga. Piccolo's just like, well, why don't you go kill everybody else on Earth and eat them? Why you could go do that while we train here, and then Buu just kills everybody at once, and Piccolo's like, oh, fuck. Like, he feels like shit because he just got everybody killed for no reason, because, like, his original plan was to bring them all back with the Dragon Balls. Like, as dark as that was, is like, it made sense to do, but then Buu just kills them all immediately, and it's like, oh, this guy is a problem,
Yeah. Yeah, that moment cements Majin Buu as one of the scariest characters in Dragon Ball, dude.
I agree.
He not only does he murder everybody right then and there, but then he kills every Z fighter that's on the lookout after he gets out of the time chamber. That's insane. And yeah, we talked about the stuff in between, but we did not talk about Vegito, who...
Yeah, well. First, I want to talk about the best forms of Buu, Gotenks and Gohan.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see anybody talking about how cool they are, but I feel like Gotenks and Gohan, more so Gotenks than Gohan, because I feel like Gohan is sort of slides a bit more in like the cliche I'm super strong, nobody can beat me realm. But Gotenks is just really cool, and he's scary in a different way than Super Buu was. Like, he's scary for all the same reasons, but at the same time for different reasons, if that makes sense. Because like now Buu is like really, really smart, and he also just got all the power of Gotenks. Like, when he first absorbed Gotenks and Piccolo, I had no idea how Gohan was supposed to kill him. Because it's like, we went through this exact same thing before, where we get like, okay, now there's nobody left who has any chance of stopping Buu. Vegeta's dead, Goku's knocked out, Gohan's dead. And then the same thing happens again, where it's like he just absorbs Gotenks and Piccolo, and you're like, well, what the fuck? Like, Gohan was the strongest person in the cast by far, and now he is completely and utterly outclassed by Buu. And then, you get for a split second this little glint of hope when Gotenks defuses inside of Buu, and you're like, oh, okay, they're gonna take him out now, and then he just absorbs Gohan. And you're like, well, now we just have Goku, and that's it. And he was gonna fuse, but his only options are like Mr. Satan, Ten Shinhan, and Dende. And so, and Ten Shinhan was knocked out. Dende was probably not. And so he considers fusing with Mr. Satan for a second. And then at the last second, Vegeta shows up. And it's like, it's so crazy. I still get goosebumps when thinking about how it all made me feel when I was a kid, because it was just so intense.
Man, it's crazy. I remember, because you don't see him. You just see Goku's reaction. He's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And then Uranai Baba shows up with Vegeta. And Vegeta doesn't know anything about this. He just knows that Buu's still a problem. He doesn't know that Buu's different. He doesn't know about fusion. Nothing like that. And when Goku gets to him, he's like, Vegeta, I know you don't want to do this, but hear me out. And God, it's so stressful seeing Vegeta not do it for the first few parts of this fight.
Well, because you get it too, because it's totally in character. Like, here's the thing: all of these plot developments happen and stuff. But and a lot of people complain that the Buu Saga is full of ass pulls, but none of the stuff that we've talked about so far feels like that. And I can't really think of any ass pulls aside from maybe Trunks going Super Saiyan 3. Not Trunks, fuck, Gotenks, sorry. Future Trunks comes back. Super Saiyan 3 No. Aside from Gotenks going Super Saiyan 3, and I guess Gohan getting the Kaioshin power boost. But really, aside from that, none of this is like Vegeta coming back is no less ridiculous than Goku being brought back by because at this point Buu is a universal crisis, and so all of the higher ups and the divine beings are scrambling we're Buu's gonna kill everybody. It's fine, we can break the rules. We don't know how much we can break the rules, so I guess Vegeta, you can come back. You're a horrible person. I probably shouldn't do this, but whatever. And so Vegeta comes back, and it's stuff where you don't think it's possible because it's so outlandish, but it's at the same time, it doesn't bother you when it happens, and so you're like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool, and then see, I feel like if Vegeta's return was an ass pull, Goku would have been able to convince him to fuse into Vegito right off the bat. But Toriyama handles it very cleverly, and for a couple chapters, Vegeta just no, I'm not going to do it. And he yells at Goku over the Super Saiyan 3 thing, and it's like you said, it's very stressful, but it makes sense. And you're like, oh, what are they supposed to do? And then when they finally fuse, when they finally do it, and Goku, he's like, Vegeta, he's absorbed Bulma and Trunks. They can't even die. Are you sure you want to keep being like this? Then Vegeta finally swallows his pride, and then they fuse into Vegito, and it's just the most satisfying thing ever, because you see Vegito show up, and you just know it's gonna be fine from there on out. You can just tell right away, and it's awesome.
The whole exchange between Super Buu and Super Vegito is incredible. Just how he washes the floor with Buu. We get some new techniques, Spirit Sword attack, which is super satisfying to also see. We get the finger beam things, which are super cool. This guy not only looks super cool, he has one of the coolest designs, I think, for a character.
Vegito's design is the best design in the whole manga. That's just my opinion, but I love the way he looks. He's my favorite character.
He's so great. And then we think, oh shit, he gets turned into candy. It's over. There's nobody left.
Exactly.
he just breaks through the barrier of being candy and beats up Super Buu anyways.
Yeah, and it's so bad that Buu recognizes that he is at a disadvantage because Vegito is smaller, and he just turns him back to normal. But it's just because we've been talking about for a while throughout this video about how Toriyama just sort of recognizes the ridiculousness of the strength of his characters, and so as a result, things aren't very high tension. You just sort of laid back watching everybody clobber all of these low-level minions and stuff, and it's it's whatever. Toriyama's just having fun. He's like, yeah, I've spent this long writing these characters. They've gotten to a pretty ridiculous level of power. And, this is probably what would happen if, new villains were introduced, whatever. But then he sort of does the same thing here, where he takes Vegito, and he has this super meta approach where he's just like, if Goku and Vegeta fused, it would probably be, the end of the world. But it's different because it's not just, it's not played up for laughs. Well, it sort of is, but it's not, you're not just, rolling your eyes yeah, okay, they're gonna win, whatever. Because it's after this really long, exhausting, war of attrition with Buu, and it's, this ultimate payoff to seeing, everybody, scramble and suffer and try to figure out a way to beat this guy. You just see Vegito come in, and he's just so fucking strong. And he's so cool, too. He's not, dumb strong. He's not movie Broly or whatever, where he's just strong to be strong. It makes sense. He's he's the combination of Goku and Vegeta. He's super smart. He's probably in my opinion, I feel like Vegito is the most clever fighter of anybody in the cast, Super included. And I guess we don't see him for long enough to make that distinction, but that's the sort of impression he gives. Like you said, his design is cool. I love the way he looks with the earrings, and then his outfit is pretty neat. It's Vegeta's training suit, but in the shape of Goku's vest, and then Goku's overshirt is the undershirt. It's and he has Vegeta's boots. It all works in a really weird way. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling about him, but I love Vegito so much, and just as both a character and a scene, he works perfectly in my opinion.
Yeah, Vegito's fantastic. And I think, you mentioned him being super clever, and I think it is really cool how he has this plan. He knows Trunks, Goten, Gohan are inside of Buu, and he needs to find a way to get them out. So he lets himself be absorbed. And, at this point, they've accepted the fate. They're gonna be fused forever. Then they unfuse, that changes things. But I think it's really clever for that he chose to get absorbed, but in such a way that he would not become part of Buu. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Once they save the kids and Piccolo, when they finally get out and Super Buu transforms into Kid Buu, I don't think a lot of people have much problem with Kid Buu. I don't. I like him quite a bit.
A lot of people say Kid Buu is very boring, just because he doesn't have a personality. And well, I don't think anybody means he doesn't have a personality, because he clearly does. I just think people don't like him because he's not intelligent and he can't talk.
Yeah.
And exactly. I sort of get that, but I think he displays enough of an over-the-top personality that is forgivable. He is so cartoonish and animated that it's how can you not like this guy? He's ridiculous. And also, right after the what you would expect to be a get-out-of-jail-free card in Vegito happened, Toriyama manages to bring things right back to maximum tension again. Now, one thing people do have a problem with is Goku not saving Gohan, Goten, and Trunks because he wants to save Mr. Satan and Dende. And I think people are missing the point. I think the point was, so the reason Toriyama did this was because if he had Gohan and Gotenks and Goku and Vegeta all fight Kid Buu at once, they would slaughter him. But so he had to figure out a way around this, and the way he did it was very clever. I don't know if anybody watching is familiar with the trolley problem. It's a moral riddle or a problem, equation of sorts, wherein a person comes across a moving trolley, and they have the option of either pulling a lever to move the trolley onto a different track or leaving it. And so if they pull the lever, then the trolley will change tracks and hit a single drunk person who just happens to be wandering through. Probably shouldn't be. It's their own fault. If they don't pull the lever, then the trolley is going to barrel through just 5 helpless people who are tied to the tracks or something. I think that's how the riddle goes. And the question is it right to pull the lever just because there is a net gain of human life when the difference is you will be actively causing somebody's murder, whereas if you didn't pull the lever, the other people would just die as they would have normally. I guess this is a bit too complicated, and it probably doesn't belong in a Dragon Ball discussion, but the reason I'm bringing it up is because I'm pretty sure that's exactly what Toriyama was trying to do here. He's like, well, Goku would have to choose between actively choosing to leave Mr. Satan and Dende there to die, or trying to pick them up, even though he's under the impression that he probably won't be able to make it to everybody else in time, still knowing that at the very least he didn't intentionally leave anybody to die. People only died because he was unable to save them. You know, I think, and maybe I'm reaching. Maybe that's like headcanon-y. I'm pretty sure it's kind of implied, though. I think that's the idea. I can't imagine Goku likes Mr. Satan and Dende more than Piccolo, Gohan, Goten, and Trunks. And some people could be like, well, maybe that should have been explained more clearly. Yeah, I guess. I just don't know if Toriyama would have been able to fit an explanation for that in there. It made sense to me, and I guess I get why it bothers people, but I think that, you know, if you look at it from that point of view, it's fine. It's not a problem to me.
Yeah, I never really had a problem with it. Because, especially for the sake of the story, you know? Kid Buu is very entertaining. So
yeah,
I would not give up Goten, Trunks, Gohan fighting him at once over the fight that we actually get, which is one of my favorite fights in the manga. Because,
well, I agree.
Yeah, Kid Buu is really, really cool because of Kid Buu's techniques. You know how he twirls around with his body? This is the one Buu that completely takes advantage of the fact that he's made of this rubbery material, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't understand why Super Buu didn't use this more. I mean, I guess he used it in the with absorbing people, which I did want to bring up was interesting to me because we had many different types of absorption. We had absorbing androids and stuff like that, but this is the first time we got our own heroes getting absorbed, which I think raises the bar a lot more. But back to Kid Buu. What do you think about the actual ending of the fight? Because a lot of people think the Genki Dama is kind of an ass boot by itself, but I like it a lot.
I disagree, and it's also the hardest Goku ever has to work for a Genki Dama. Even like not just like up to this point, but later on in the series as well. Even if we include both GT and Super, this is by far the hardest Genki Dama for Goku to make. And you know, he throws it, and Buu catches it. It's not even an ass pull because, like, Buu is so strong that Goku can't even kill him with the ultimate Omega Super Spirit Bomb made from the energy of everybody on Earth, plus, you know, these obnoxiously strong other characters. I'm pretty sure the Namekians help out a bit. I could be totally wrong on that. I believe they might a little bit. I can't see any reason for them not to. But, you know, it doesn't work. And then, like, you know, that last second realization that they still have a wish left on the Namekian Dragon Balls. And then, you know, Goku getting his strength back and just going Super Saiyan. You know, it's great. It's awesome. I love it. But, I mean, it's just like, it's really, really, really scary with them fighting Buu, especially for that first bit where Vegeta's still dead. And you're worried that he is going to be, like, erased completely. Because, you know, a lot of people complain, like, just about Dragon Ball in general not having any stakes. But, like, Vegeta has to fight fucking Kid Buu, you know, who is stronger than Fat Buu, in Super Saiyan 2 just by himself with no help at all. And it's like, it's not easy for him. He is clearly on the verge of death multiple times. And, you know, when I was first watching it as a kid, I was worried that Vegeta was going to just be gone, like just be wiped out from the fucking series forever. Now, he does get brought back eventually, so that worry does go away. But, you know, for a while, you know, the possibility of Vegeta just ceasing to exist is definitely there.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really cool concept because, like you said, death is kind of meaningless at this point in the show, but introducing the concept of dying after death is
Yeah.
a great way to raise the bar, especially the moment where Goku's holding the Genkidama above his head and he doesn't throw it because Vegeta's right there, and he doesn't want to kill him, and Mr. Satan finally comes in and drags him out. Man, that part is it hits, man. And speaking of Vegeta, you know, he has that great revealing moment when he stops and just watches the fight for a minute and goes, you know, Kakarot, you are the best fighter.
Yeah.
Man, I think
Sure was a great moment. Sure was a great cap to Vegeta's character arc.
Thanks, Super.
Yeah. Thanks.
No, but I really like the way that because Vegeta, you know, he asks for everybody's energy, and
it just doesn't work. Nobody believes it because he's not charismatic at all.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that Vegeta's charisma skill is like a 10 at maximum. You know, he's not great.
No.
But then fucking Mr. Big Brain Genius Toriyama comes in and has Mr. Satan convince everybody. And man, Mr. Satan contributes just as much in this fight as everybody else. Like, he drags Vegeta away and lets Goku throw the Genkidama. He motivates Fat Buu to beat up Kid Buu. You know, he goes in there and he does his best. You know, he throws a couple punches. He definitely tries as hard as everybody else. You know, it's really hard to come away from this fight hating him. Like, sure, you can totally despise him after the Cell games, but by the end of the Buu arc, like, he's not just a joke character anymore. Like, he is a legitimately likable person, and, you know, it's great. I love it.
Exactly. You know, he has one of the coolest developments in Dragon Ball at that point. And then Goku says some stuff, you know, and some of the people from years ago.
Oh yeah, from the beginning of Dragon Ball,
Yeah.
like from I forget the name of the village up in the north. They recognize him.
Yeah.
And then
Timberland
you know, the tribal people recognize Goku from when, you know, he brought back the one kid's dad.
Yeah, 17 recognizes him.
Yep.
A couple of
Even
other
though
people.
he's never
He's
met
never
Goku
heard
before.
Goku's voice. Yeah.
Though he's never met Goku before.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but that scene, you know, it's a great way to cap off the series, because, you know, at this point Toriyama knew that he was gonna end it, and I'm glad that he, you know, because he's a forgetful man, so he had to have gone over a couple of the chapters that from early Dragon Ball and be like, oh yeah, this character, I should include him in the montage. So once Majin Buu is finally defeated, you know, they give each other a thumbs up, and there's a lot, I think perhaps more than anything else, besides maybe Gotenks and Super Buu, the most divisive thing about the Majin Buu arc is the ending to the manga. A lot of people really, really hate it, and they say, you know, why would you leave it off at a quote-unquote cliffhanger? But I personally think that the ending of the manga is really good because it leaves you with hope of more, you know, of you know, the Dragon Balls will be there, our heroes will be there, Goku's off training the next generation, so, you know, it's not truly the end, and I think that's exactly what Toriyama meant to say, so I don't really understand why people hate it so much.
I think people are just pissed that Goku finally has the opportunity to stay home with his family and just, like, be a good dad, and then he just leaves again. Even though the Earth is no longer in mortal danger, he just leaves again anyway. And, I guess I get it, but also, like, I'm fine with it, like you. I mean, like, Goku is kind of a bad person for just leaving everybody, but, you know, he's like, hey, I'll still visit and stuff. I mean, Oob is clearly a good kid, and after what happened with Buu and stuff, I can't blame him for wanting to be like, yeah, I need to make sure this kid is as strong as possible for next time some fucking bullshit like this happens. And now, if we go by GT, it doesn't work, because Oob does nothing there. Even when he fuses with Majin Buu, he is completely worthless, which really sucks. I wanted to see Oob do more stuff in GT, but, you know, whatever. You know, I think that the concept for the character is cool. The idea of Oob is cool, and, you know, the potential that he has. You know, the thought that he's going to get super strong. Like, I feel like talking about Dragon Ball after this final chapter would have been really fun. Like, I wonder how strong Oob's going to be and stuff. That would have been... I think that was Toriyama's intention. He just wanted to leave people with stuff to discuss. He left it a bit open-ended, but not open-ended enough that people would be asking him to wrap up the series and tie up all the loose ends and stuff because he didn't want to do any more. And he shouldn't have done any more because I think the Buu arc was a perfect finale to Dragon Ball. I think it was fine.
I think it's really cool that he gave us stuff that people would want to see. He told us this is what Trunks is up to, this is what Goten's up to, this is Vegeta.
He gave us
like
a
this.
rematch. Yeah.
Oh,
I thought you meant he gave us like stuff like throughout the arc. I was just gonna say he gave us that rematch with Goku and Vegeta that I'm sure people had been asking for forever. There was we got to see people fuse, and I feel like while that wasn't something that like people like wanted, like were asking for, I think it's something that people wanted and they never knew they wanted.
Yeah.
Was fusion. We got to see a bunch of new characters, fighting again. Krillin got laid. We all knew he deserved that. Just a bunch of neat stuff. Oh, Gohan got a girlfriend as he deserved. But what I think the best thing about the Buu arc is how earned the victory feels, because it is the hardest victory they have ever fucking fought forever. Like when Buu is dead, you're like, you don't even believe it. You're like, all right, so how's he gonna come back from the spirit bomb? But no, he's finally gone, and you're just like, wow, good job, team. You did it. You earned it. And it's like every other arc, either the tension like disappears, well, except for the Saiyan arc, but every other arc, the tension either disappears or it's only there for a really short bit at the end. So now in the Saiyan arc, everybody's dead. I would argue the Saiyan arc might be even more scary than the Buu arc towards the end, because the Dragon Balls are gone, Piccolo's gone. You're like, oh, everybody's dead. They have to somehow beat Ozaru Vegeta, but then by the end, everybody's sort of on an even playing field. Vegeta's near death, and everybody's just trying. Like, it's just this, crazy war of attrition. So it's not as, like, I don't want to say one-sided, but I guess it's not as one-sided as the conflict was with Buu for most of it. Then in the Namek arc, it was very, Frieza was very scary for most of the fight, but then at the end when Goku goes Super Saiyan, the tension basically flies out the window. It doesn't disappear immediately, but it's sort of, this gradual realization happens in the reader, like, oh, Goku's got this in the bag, Frieza can't do anything. And then the same thing happens with Cell when Gohan goes Super Saiyan 2. Cell does come back, kill Trunks, and there is that beam struggle, but that's not long at all. The beam struggle is over very quickly, and that's it. Like, Gohan and Cell don't actually fight again, they just fire Kamehamehas at each other. Here, Buu keeps coming back one time after another, and it's just like, what are they gonna do every single time? And, you just think Goku throws the spirit bomb, he's finally done, and Buu just catches it. Like, it's just one thing after the next, and it's so spooky, like, I don't know, maybe it's just my opinion, maybe I'm not being fair to the other arcs, but it's so stressful, and, the tension's so high, it's higher than it's ever been before, I think. I think this arc does a lot of things that none of the other arcs have done, or have attempted to do before, and it does a lot of them really well, and I just don't think it gets as much credit as it deserves.
For sure, exactly. I pretty much share exactly the same sentiments that you do. I think, unlike most of Dragon Ball, it leaves you with a really nice message of hope, and, as Vegeta says, let the Earth defend itself, let the people that are living defend Earth. And stuff like that. It's a really hopeful arc overall, even when the odds are completely against our heroes. And it ends, like you said, in probably one of the most satisfying endings in the Dragon Ball arcs, with the most deserved finale of them all. And I cannot say how good it is for Toriyama to finally have gone to end Dragon Ball in that high note, with the ending specifically.
It's a much better ending than anything we got in Super 2. Like, the ending of the Tournament of Power kind of sucks. A lot of people like that final episode, but it just feels very unceremonious, and the fight against Jiren isn't like that long. Well, actually, it's long, but it's like interrupted by a lot of things. No, you know what? I'm not gonna complain about Super again. I'll save it for another video, but
Yeah, we should talk about that sometime.
yeah, I mean, I love the Buu arc. I think if we're talking strictly manga, it's my second favorite after the Saiyan arc. But now maybe that's a bit of a hot take. I can totally understand if people disagree with that. But I really like the Buu arc. I at least think it's better than Cell. Not that Cell's terrible. I just don't think it's as good as Buu.
Yeah.
Maybe we should talk about that sometime.
Yeah, totally. We have some hot takes when it comes to Cell too. But yeah, you know, you said that is your second favorite arc. I might as well say mine. Yeah, I think my favorite arc is probably the Red Ribbon arc. The Saiyan arc is either second or third, depending on the day of the week, if I like Majin Buu or the Majin Buu arc better or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we covered everything. What do you think?
Yeah, probably. Oh, wait, there's one scene that it's really quick. When Mr. Satan comes out for the first time in the tournament, and he just fucking slips and falls right on his ass for no reason. It's really funny.
Oh,
Every time I read it, it gets me. Like, it just comes out of nowhere. Toriyama didn't have to do it. It was really stupid slapstick humor, and it's hilarious.
It's great, man.
Yeah.
I need to reread it, honestly. It just made me want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, where can they find you, as if they don't know already?
YouTube.com/C/Swagkage.
Yeah, be sure to check him out. Although I'm sure most of you guys have already. Check me out at Smugstick on Twitter and my YouTube channel, which you're probably watching that on right now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Unless somebody like downloaded it and like uploaded it to one of those like weird sites that you get when you like, look up a YouTube video and then it like shows up on like one of those like weird like third-party sites.
Exactly.
You know the person and upload the video there. Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks, Rob Swagkage, for joining me today. We should do it again sometime.
Absolutely, yeah.
See you guys.
Boy.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Smugstick, unless you want to be destroyed.
Lord Beerus, that's hardly fair. But also, don't forget to click the bell icon to get notified when he uploads new videos.